And we are live. Welcome to the NBA Strategy Show. It is Tuesday, April 29th. I am Josh Engleman, here to break down a 4-game NBA slate. This is probably the final 4-gamer. I'd be surprised if we got another one. It would be weird if we did. So let's enjoy it today. Let's also enjoy the fact that these games are not at normal times. Milwaukee and Indiana play at 6 p.m. today. Again, Milwaukee and Indiana, 6 p.m. Pistons, Knicks at 7:30. Magic, Celtics at 8:30. Clippers, Denver at 10 o'clock. I'll tell you what, man, I would have made a lot more money if I didn't listen to Greg yesterday. If I wouldn't have given that extra minute to Hero and that extra minute to Bam, I would have massively faded them instead of slightly faded them. I jammed Jared Allen. I jammed Alperen Şengün. I jammed Pajemski. Ugh, I blame Greg, man. I was over the field on Jovic. I blame Greg. Yeah, S&P. That's really the problem. The Lakers don't lack an ant. They lack an everybody else. They're just not any good. I'll never understand it. I mean, I get it. Luka's awesome. But we knew this was coming the whole time. We knew it the whole time. I've been saying it since the second week of February. They don't have enough bodies. They don't have a center. You cannot win in the playoffs like that. You guys are a year early. Exactly, Steven. Greg makes money off of my projections and then screws me. It's brutal. That first game was disgusting. Disgusting. Cleveland beat the shit out of Miami. You don't get games that are much worse than that. When did blowout? I assume the whole fourth quarter is just disregarded on cleaning the glass. They probably dropped the whole fourth. Yeah. Oh, that's Houston Golden State. I'm just dumb. Yeah. Cleaning the glass throughout all of the fourth quarter for blowout run. Look, we shouldn't be surprised by that. Tyler Hero is wildly overqualified to be the number one guy on a team. Your best player is defensive oriented. Like, they're drowning. Tyler Hero should be like the fourth best guy on a team. Not your primary creator. We always knew this was going to happen. That's why I talk about basketball the way that I do. I talk about it through the lens of, can you do it in the playoffs? And Tyler Hero is a no to that answer. Not as the number one guy. And if you can't guard anybody, you're going to be the worst creator of the two best creators, and you're going to get picked on defense every day. It's a tough recipe for Miami to have the lesser creator and the guy that gets picked on like a scab. Just not the guy. Just not the guy. Joe says, I'm starting to think that way about Jalen Green too. So those two are very different in that Hero has actually actualized his abilities. Jalen Green is just this ball of promise because athletically, he's better than NBA players. Because when it works for somebody like Jalen Green, the league has to watch out because he's a freak. But 54% true shooting, 54% true shooting, 54% true shooting. Can't crack the code. So for today, obviously we're deep into these 4 series. I don't have we're going to look at individual pieces and some stats and some trends. I'm not talking about this like it's a DFS slate, other than some of the main ownership guys. We need to talk about this as like an organism that is slowly evolving and not just like Gary Trent's 12% optimal. That's not going to get us anywhere today. S&P, I'm starting to find the gap in our evaluation processes. Not that there's a gap or anything, but like, you know what I mean? I am willing to show more patience on athletically talented guys on the fringe. Like, I think you're being too harsh to Jalen Green there, and here's why. 23 years old, 4 seasons, great health, all 82 games this year, all 82 games last year, 76 the year before. He was worth 5.6 wins on dunks and threes this year. Like, he got the right contract, as weird as it sounds. If we're talking about wins being worth like $5 million or something in that neighborhood, I mean, we're talking about a $28 million year. The problem is that he hasn't taken any sort of incremental leap. Like, the efficiency's the same. He got better at the rim this year. Like, that's been growing. 13th percentile, 26th percentile, 38th percentile. But, like, nothing's catching and, like, turning him over to that next notch. But there's something there. Yeah, S&P, it depends on, like, what kind of player you are. For a guard, I usually am willing to extend the runway a little bit, especially for someone that's not an undersized guard. Like, he's 6'6". Like, he's not 6'1" or something like that. But 5.6 expected wins. Like, if he continues to grow at 23, 2 years from now, is that an 8 or 9 win guy? Because that's a $50 million a year player in 2 years. So, like, it ends up being a really interesting case for Houston of, do you think, like, where do you think the improvement comes from this? Because offensively, he's good. Like, if he's a plus 1.9 offensive EPM guy in 2 years at 25, what do we do with that? Like, we're talking about, could he be De'Aaron Fox? Like, I don't mean play style. Desmond Bane? Could he be those guys? I don't know. All right, let's talk through these games. Would I rather have Ant or Luka? Probably Ant, but I'd want to talk to them both. Like, Luka to me is the higher offensive ceiling. The defense matters a lot there. It's probably Ant for me. Yeah, S&P, you may be right. You may be right. I don't know. It's tough for me. When I see those, like, clearly talented guys in their early 20s, I just think to myself, well, I would have probably been a dickhead at 22 or 23 as well. So, all right, let's talk through these Bucks. Bucks should end their season today. 8-point dogs in Indy. 222 total. P. Wayne, Jalen Green isn't even in the ballpark of better than Desmond Bane. That is a not true statement. You aren't even close. Not even remotely close. So do we want to talk about today's number one dude? Because you got to play Kevin Porter Jr. in basically everything you do today. I don't love that on a 4-gamer when it's the first game, but no Dame. He's been getting more minutes. He played really well last time out. You expect 30 plus fantasy points or 30 plus minutes today, 30 plus fantasy point projection, 80% optimal fantasy point per minute, 80% owned. He's in 97% of my lineups. I don't know what else you do here unless they don't start him. And I don't know why they wouldn't start him. Steven, I don't know the video you're talking about, but the Luka defense stuff is a bigger talking point than people make it. He's not as bad of a defender as people probably assume he is, because he's not little. Michael Dixon says, fade Kevin Porter Jr. today. Thank me later. Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. That's going to be something you don't need to do. For the rest of Milwaukee, we do have another jam guy. That's going to be Bobby Portis again. Obviously, it didn't go well last time out, but he's 5,800 here. Should play in and around 30 minutes and potentially more. 35% optimal, 33% owned. Now, I am light on him, but in terms of just like ranking overall plays, Bobby Portis is one of the best we're going to get to today. And just for reference sake, it's the same story on FanDuel. KPJ is 5,300. He's 80% owned. Portis is 5,900. He's 30% owned. Both of these guys are the best two plays on Milwaukee. We'll have the honest conversation in a second. Let's take a look at some Milwaukee rates actually without Dame on the floor. All right, so let's take everybody available, and we'll get Lopez, Giannis, Portis. I'll add Connaughton because he could be playing. Taurean Prince, Kuzma, Trent, Porter, Sims, Rollins, AJ Green. I guess they could put Andre Jackson on the floor. I'll add him too. All right, so anytime any combination of those five guys were on the floor, here's what we've got. Bobby Portis played 345 minutes with those guys on the floor. 24.5% usage rate. Giannis's usage rate in this scenario is 34. But the interesting one, and this is why KPJ is a guy you can't get away from. KPJ, 625 minutes, 25% usage rate. Trevor, he's not a winning basketball player. Josh Giddey can't play in the playoffs. That's what a winning basketball player is. Could he play on a winning regular season team? Yes. He can't play in the playoffs. All right, rates look good. I actually thought Giannis might have got a little bit more of a usage bump, but because of like KPJ and Portis, I think that kind of keeps it in check. The rest of this stuff is where it gets really difficult. I want to look at the minutes that they have had recently. So look at the trend here on someone like Brook Lopez. They can't keep him out there in this matchup because they can't guard the pick and roll. 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 16 minutes, unowned. I don't think they're unlocking him anymore. This is just not that kind of match. Not to mention, like, the series is over. But Lopez, they can't handle the pick and roll here. You know, if you're going to have Lopez in a drop, I mean, it was worse if it were Dame because he's such a bad point of attack guy. Kuzma, I don't know how you do that, but like, in theory, Kuzma is a guy that can go, that we can project for 21 minutes and can play 30. Now, I don't have a clue what he's just awful. I barely have him. I think AJ Green's fine. Seems like Doc likes him. Seems like, you know, he's going to play in that like 24 minute a game range. What do you guys like here for Milwaukee other than KPJ? Because that's not even worth talking about. What do you guys like here? Trevor, Jalen Green and Desmond Bane make the same salary. Sandberg, any chance Bobby slides into the starting five? I doubt it. But it's not out of the realm of possibility. I don't think they'd do that to Brook Lopez unless Brook Lopez told them to. I don't think Doc would ever ask Brook Lopez to do that. But, I mean, it did happen in the second half. Like, they didn't start him in the second half of game 4. So it's certainly possible. I don't think it'll matter all that much. Like, you know, you are, I mean, like, it's going to make Portis look better, obviously. But, like, if I'm going to go to Milwaukee, I'm obviously going to have a lot of KPJ. I don't know how much of Bobby Portis I'm going to have, but he's clearly the second best option. Now, I don't have Giannis. And for the most part, I'm cool with that. Like, I think they lose. I prefer Jokic. I'm getting Jokic. But for right now, I'm light on Giannis. That is never a place you want to be. But, like, look, you got to think about it realistically. Jokic is on this slate and Giannis is on this slate, and they're both over 11K in salary. It's not like you're rostering both of them together in abundance. So you're kind of having to pick one of the two. And right now, I'm picking Jokic over Giannis. Jokic is cheaper than Giannis on FanDuel. Well, even better then. And yeah, as I hop over to the FanDuel side, 20% ownership coming into Giannis, 20 more coming into Gary Trent. Those are the only 4 guys that are relevant today. I don't have much Trent on DraftKings at 4,800 now that price is a little higher, but he's completely reasonable as a value. Play Porter, play Portis, and play Giannis. And then, like, don't sweat Milwaukee all that much. I don't think there's a lot of utility there. I will say this, though. They're the most owned team on the slate. This is the most owned game on the slate as well. I don't like that for what we have today. All right, let's talk about Indiana quickly. Not much to say here. This is a team that really doesn't do anything weird through the regular season. They really don't do anything weird during the playoffs. They don't even really increase their rotation minutes at all. Nothing happens. Benedict Matherin's questionable, missed the last game. You know, if he's out, we give a couple extra minutes to Jarris Walker and to Ben Shepherd, and we call it a day. Halliburton is 15% owned. He's in one of my lineups. Nembhard looks like reasonable value. Nesmith looks like reasonable value. They're both, you know, 20% owned, kind of the same they always are. McConnell's getting some love off the bench. I never love that because I don't think the minutes are in a great spot, but like Milwaukee just blows. Toppin's fine, another 20%er. I mean, that's really what we get. They should be called the Indiana 20%ers. 20% optimal or ownership on Nembhard, Nesmith, Siakam, McConnell, Toppin. They're all just the same dude. I have the most of Toppin, but 13%, 14%, 15%, 17%, 20%. Like, they're just... I don't have a pacer guy that separates from the rest of these dudes. I'm light on Turner right now. I'm light on Halliburton. Steve asked me why I know Turner. I have 80-something% of Jokic. That'll probably figure it out real quick there. Because, I mean, it's not like Turner's not okay, but, you know, he's only 10% optimal, 13% owned. Now, on the FanDuel side, they're a little less interesting. Halliburton's still 25% owned. So is McConnell. So is Siakam. Everybody else is like 15 or below. So the Pacers aren't super interesting on FanDuel. I don't even think they're super interesting on DraftKings. They're just useful. But they don't have... There's nothing even resembling like Bobby Portis on the Pacers, let alone someone like KPJ. Who gets the biggest bump if Matherin's out? Nobody, really. Neesmith, Nemhard, Shepard, and Walker, kind of. But, like, these guys just don't do anything weird or different. It's just the same stuff over and over again. They don't really deviate. Like, their usage doesn't really change. Their rebounding rates don't really change. Their assist rates don't really change. Like, these guys just keep doing the same shit over and over again. They're like one of the most boring DFS teams to talk about. Like, you want to play Halliburton at 8,500? Go for it. Completely reasonable in 10 to 20% of lineup. Same for Turner. Do I have him right now? No. Is that a problem? Also, no. I mean, right now I have, like, there's 8 roster spots on DraftKings. 2 of my roster spots are basically already filled permanently by the same 2 people. So I'm really just flat on everybody. I have 87% of Jokic. I have 97% of KPJ. So I kind of just have like 20% of everybody. What do you guys want to do here with the Pacers? I don't think there's anybody that's worth saying they're a stand. Like, I expect to have like a Pacer in every lineup. Actually, I could probably figure that out quickly. Where are the Pacers? All right. Halliburton, McConnell, Nemhard, Neesmith, Mathurin, Toppin, Siakam, Turner. All right. Pacers. Let's see. All right, here we go. Why is this not working? Oh, there we go. Oh, wow, that's actually not as much as I expected. A third of my lineups don't have a Pacer. 40% have 1, 20% have 2. Interesting. S&P. The only thing I'll disagree with there is age. Bane's old. So I do still think you'd get some people picking Jalen Green there. Run the Bases says capping all Pacers at 10 to 15% except Nemhard. I mean, that's basically what I did without doing it. P. Wayne, there's like a 0% chance Jalen Green will be a all-star next year. That would be pretty damn difficult to pull off. Let's go to Detroit. Trying to save the season. Cade, Tim Hardaway, Jalen Duren, Malik Beasley. They're all like 50 to 20% owned. To me, nobody stands out. Most I got of anybody is 23% of Tim Hardaway, which I hate. We're still waiting on Isaiah Stewart news. He's questionable. He's at least an interesting value option if he's in. But like, I don't know, the Asar Thompson thing's getting old. Tobias Harris is 5% owned. Unfortunately, in our data, Tim Hardaway Jr. is the number 1 play from the Pistons. Now, I think the Knicks win this game. I think this one's over. I like 3 home teams and a road team, oddly, today. I like the Pacers, the Knicks, the Celtics, and I actually think the Clippers beat the Nuggets today, which I hate. Yeah, the only way Bane's going to be an all-star is if they trade Morant. Minutes for Minutes for the Pistons have been a little weirder lately. Like, I don't have much Cade. People gave me shit for it last time. I'm okay with it. You can't play every pay up. But, like, you know, Asar just sits in this, like, 21 range. Ron Holland doesn't matter. Hopefully Isaiah Stewart can matter. You know, Hardaway, does he play 20 minutes or 38? Do you guys like anything here? Schroeder, Beasley? I'm guessing you guys just want Cade, but 9,800 point guard only. I don't think he looks great. Like, I definitely want Jokic before I take Cade. I definitely want Giannis before I take Cade. It's really, like, it's a coin flip for me between him and Tatum. I'd probably prefer Paolo. Ooh, S&P, you just touched on something that I wanted to touch on. That's fun. I like it. Tim Hardaway Jr., everybody. A little bit more involved in this series. Peep the usage. Oop, that's EPM. Sorry, forgot to click it. Peep the usage here. Tim Hardaway Jr. has been a little bit more involved offensively. So he cratered in February. Just wasn't doing anything. Look at the slow ramp up of Tim Hardaway Jr.'s usage rate till now. He's sitting in like the 18, 19% range. He's getting himself closer to his normal self because he was at 15% for the year. That's not what he is right now. So I don't mind having the Tim Hardaway that I do. At least rate-wise, things are trending in his direction. Jalen Duren just scares me. Like, yeah, he's fine. If Isaiah Stewart is back, I'm terrified of Jalen Green. Or sorry, of Jalen Duren. All this Jalen Green conversations got me. FanDuel, look how flat this is on FanDuel. 12%, 14%, 20%, 12%, 10%. Just flat, 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 flat. I don't have, like, takeaways from the Pistons. Hey, one thing I want to tell you guys. If you guys watched the Contenders video yesterday, you would have seen that we did a little bit of a giveaway. We gave away 5 portfolio EV subs to anybody that commented on yesterday's Contenders video. I ran the giveaway this morning. I pinned a link to yesterday's Contenders in the comment section. The giveaway thing that we're using right now, really cool. I click a button, it goes through all the comments, it selects each individual guy, grabs their comment, it shows you all 5 people that won, it shows you the 3 people that got selected as backups instead of, in case anybody doesn't claim their win. But there's a link pinned in the description or in the comment section of the Contenders video from yesterday. If you commented on Contenders yesterday, check it out to see if you won, because if you did, you get 2 weeks of portfolio EV. Let me show you what I got going on here. We're going to start doing these on this show as well. But if I hop over to Odd Shopper and pull up yesterday's, I don't know, why am I hopping over to Odd Shopper? If I hop over to Stokastic, pull up yesterday's Contenders, we can see if anybody that's in here actually picked up the dub. All right. So you can see here in the comments, I pinned this link. This link takes you to our giveaway results. There are the winners of the giveaway from the Contenders video. Kristen Boys, Operating Capacity, Jim Sharp, R. Gross, Don Barbs. And then we got 3 people here as substitute winners, just in case these guys don't get in touch with us. We're going to run these a couple times. We might run one on the show tomorrow, so be ready. Might do some giveaways. All right, for the Knicks, this is as easy as it gets. You have basically one option for the Knicks. You play the starters, or you probably don't play anybody at all. 15% ownership to Brunson, 20 to Bridges, 20 to Hart, 20 to Towns. Call it 25 to Anunoby. There's not a chance in hell that I can separate these Knicks from each other. You know, you expect all of them to play like 40 minutes. You expect them all to be involved in some way. You know, Brunson and Towns are going to be the key pieces of offense. And then one of the three wings is going to be a guy. The most I have of anybody is Hart. I'm mostly just right around the field on everybody from the Knicks. They don't have any like weird pricing. They have the same guys in all the time. They've already been playing 40 minutes. These guys are just steady today. They're just steady. But like, it's hard for me to get a lot of Towns. If I'm going to have 80% of Jokic, like I'm running out of center spots. I have no idea how you sift through Bridges, Hart, and Anunoby. And then, yeah, like, if I could get Brunson, do I want more? Of course. Of course. He's going to take every shot. He's 8,800. But, you know, there's a lot of other guys that look just like him, including Cade on the opposite side of this game. Now, is Brunson too cheap at 8,800? A little bit, yes. We got a lot of guard value. I'm not going to go to Mitchell Robinson off the bench for any sort of volume. I'm certainly not going to go to like Miles McBride or anything like that. It's just the starters. So which starter do you guys want? Who's the Nick you guys want? Brunson, Bridges, Hart, Anunoby, Towns. Can I do 5 in a poll? I can't. That sucks. Steven says Brunson. Yeah, I get that. Ownership on Brunson looks great. Brett Tanner says probably taking Cat instead of Jokic, I guess. Risky. To me, the Knicks are like the perfect epitome of what DFS is. Like, it's all about, you know, let's say it's like the single lineup sim. Let's say you built out a lineup that has 6 guys in it. Are they chalky? Well, then maybe you want Brunson. Are they a little bit more contrarian? Well, then maybe you want OG Anunoby. It's not about the individual guy. It's about the way that all of these individual variables interact with each other. FanDuel for the Knicks. Towns not as owned as these guys. Anunoby is pulling away from the pack a little bit in terms of ownership. Bridges is there, though, at 25. Hart's right around 25. Brunson's still just north of 10. Look, that's the Knicks, man. That's the Knicks. Let's see if we have any odd shopper bets out there. We haven't looked at it yet. Hit that like button if you haven't done it yet. Oddshopper.com, portfolio EV tool, market-based approach to beating the books. I don't know why you wouldn't want to do it. You can get it for free if you click the link in the description. We do have Cade under 43.5 PRA on NoVig. We have KPJ under points and assists on ProfitX and DraftKings. Nothing for the Knicks. Miles Turner under points on DraftKings is out there. So we got a couple. I gotta sneeze. Whew. Two games left to go. The Orlando Magic get to finish up their NBA season today as 11-point underdogs in Boston. P. Wayne, which All-NBA team does Cade make? I hope third team. He does not deserve to be on the second team. Thank you, guys. But yeah, I mean, I think third team bid makes sense. So the Magic. Obviously, not a lot of offensive ability here. Implied total for Orlando, pretty rough. 94. That is 10. It is 10 points lower than any other team's implied total today. This is just an awful spot for Orlando going back to Boston. A little bit of ownership is coming into Corey Joseph, sure. Let's just talk about the guys that are actually getting any love. It's not Franz Wagner at 8,200. He's 7% owned, and I'm under the field. Banchero's 15% owned. I got 12. Wendell Carter's 15% owned. I got 17. Anthony Black is 15% owned. I got the most of him. And I got 17% of John Isaac. I hate this shit so much. I don't want Orlando. Unfortunately for us, this is the third game. So like late swap wise, it becomes more helpful. But these guys grade out pretty damn poorly. Now, Anthony Black's minutes have been all over the place. 18, 13, 23, 14. We got him in for 19 and a half today. He's the guy I have the most. I think he's the easiest value to get to at 3,400. You know, I'm paying up a lot for Jokic, so finding point guard value makes a lot of sense for synergy. You know, John Isaac's fine for value. I got him in for 12 and a half minutes. That's what today is. 3,100 power forward center, but a good enough per minute guy to show up in some lineups. I can't get to KCP. I can't get to Gary Harris. I barely have Franz Wagner. I just don't want to play Orlando against Boston. Why would I? Orlando is the second least owned team. This is the least owned game. It's the second least amount of optimal. It's the second least boom. The only team that's behind them are Boston. You know, Wendell Carter Jr. keeps playing 32 minutes a night. Yeah. Reasonable at 15. R. Stanley, I don't think I know a single soul that won those things. I'll have a little Paolo. I'll have a little Wendell Carter Jr. by default. I expect to have Anthony Black, but I'm guessing I end up with a little bit less. As weird as it sounds, I don't expect my 10% of Corey Joseph to go away. But this is the worst game that you can get to. Are you guys getting to anything here from Orlando? What's up, Crispy? I just, not in Boston. 11.5 point line, 94 point total for Orlando. I wish I had less Anthony Black. If we talk about Boston, they're even less interesting. Boston, 20% ownership to Al Horford. Oh, Ryan, sorry. Let me hop back over to Orlando and show FanDuel quickly. It's the same story. Franz looks a little bit better because of the MPE, but only Franz and Paolo got over 10% ownership. You're just not targeting Orlando today. And you're not targeting Boston really either. No Drew Holiday. Just get him healthy. Jaylen Brown's questionable. I assume he plays, but who knows? If he doesn't, that'll help us out a little bit here. 20% ownership to Al Horford. Everybody else on Boston is less than 10% owned. Tatum's at 12%, 8% owned. Horford, 22% optimal, 20% owned, ranks 9th. You guys can see it on the screen right now. I have 5% of Derek White, 1 share of Jaylen Brown, 5% of KPJ, no Pritchard, 1 share of Luke Cornett. I don't want Boston. This is the least owned team of the day. Now on FanDuel, they look a little bit better. Derek White's price is more advantageous. Kristaps Porzingis gets the MPE. Peyton Pritchard is $500 cheaper. Horford's price is still advantageous. Tatum is equally as uninteresting. Now, if we get Jaylen Brown out, maybe we could play a little bit more of Boston. But if Jaylen Brown is in, we can't do that. But it's Al Horford as your best option. He's playing north of 30 minutes. If they keep having somebody out, he's not going to stop playing 30 minutes. 5,200 power forward, center eligible. And if Boston wins today, they could just sit back, relax, and take a break. Get Al Horford healthy. He could rest tomorrow. But for now, give me Horford and barely any Tatum. But this is not the game you want. Let's talk schedule for the rest of the day, I hope. Okay. I'm going to assume that Laffy is on MLB strategy after this. But you guys got to remember what today is. NBA Live Before Lock is going to be from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock because of this Milwaukee Indy game, which means Greg and I will be live on playback from 7 to 8, which means we're going to get Pistons and Knicks news. Not that we expect anything. You could see a starting lineup change for Detroit. We'll get Pistons Knicks news. We'll run our late swaps heading into 7:30, and then top of the hour at 7 o'clock, we'll put our lineups in, late swap to Pistons and Knicks, and go about our business. We'll be watching Milwaukee Indy. You guys can watch along with us. Playback.tv/Stokastic. All right, final game. The one that everybody wants to watch. The clear best game of the day. Clippers, 2-point favorites in Denver. 208 total. Man, what a series. Not to mention, this one is massive. 2-2. Denver at home with a real home court advantage. There's only, really 2, but maybe 2.5 now because of the Clippers' real home court advantage. Denver has it. Elevation's real. Clippers are old. Now, from an ownership perspective on the Clippers, nothing's happening here. Basically 15% to Harden, Powell, Leonard, and Zubats. Sub 10% to Dunn, Batum, Jones. The most I have of anybody is Harden. The guy I like the most is probably Zubats, but I'll never get him because of Jokic. Kawhi looks great, but this is filler. This is like the Pacers to me. 15% of everybody. FanDuel, completely different story. James Harden is $200 cheaper on FanDuel than he is on DraftKings. He's 45% owned. Kawhi, $200 more expensive, but he gets an MPE. He's 30% owned. Zubats, $400 cheaper, 30% owned. Norm Powell, $100 cheaper, 20% owned. The Clippers are a completely different team on FanDuel compared to DraftKings. On FanDuel, you jam the starters. On DraftKings, they're lineup filler. And I want to have a bit of the Clippers for late swap purposes. But I don't have a specific Clipper. But on the Denver side, I want Jokic. 11-5, center only. He might play 46 minutes tonight. Like, if it's competitive, he's going to play the whole second half. My guess is that he basically only sits a little bit in the second quarter. 44% optimal, 30% owned, 87% of my lineups. Even if I don't end up with 87, I want this because I can swap it back through 3 separate swaps. So just absolute jam city of Nikola Jokic. And then it's like 15% ownership to Murray, Brown, and Porter. A little bit less to Gordon. I think all those guys kind of feel similar to like the Pacers and the Clippers. I'll take anybody from the rest of their starters. We are waiting on news. We don't know the status of Russell Westbrook yet. If he happens to be out, that is better for all the starters plus Watson. But like, I'm over the field on every single one of the Denver starters. A little bit over on Murray. I guess technically I'm a percentage point under on Christian Brown. Over on Porter, over on Gordon, and Jokic is in more than 2x at 87%. He's the guy I want the most. Jamal Murray nuke? Oof. They need it. They need it. They might need a Jamal Murray nuke to win. Brandon, Russell Westbrook is not going to have any impact on Nikola Jokic today. This is game 5, and Jokic is going to play 46 minutes. Russell Westbrook's going to play like 14 minutes tonight if he's in. If Russ is in, are we getting to him? No. No shot. On FanDuel, Murray looks better. He's $200 cheaper. But Christian Brown's 30% owned there, same price. Michael Porter Jr. is $300 cheaper and gets the MPE. Aaron Gordon's still fine there. Cheaper, doesn't have the MPE. And then, you know, for me, Jokic, I'd still be jamming him on FanDuel too. Four games up. 4 games down. Time to build some lineups. Single lineup sim edition, guys. Hit the like button if you haven't done it yet. Let's hope we can do a little bit better than yesterday. 4 games. We should be able to find some value here today. All right. Well, I'm obviously putting Jokic in immediately over Giannis. All the best value plays are expensive. Look at this. 11-5, 11-3, 86, 9, 88, 98, 71, 92, 84, 72, 95. They're all the best. All of the best plays are the best point per dollar plays. The value plays aren't good plays. That's kind of nuts. All right, well, I guess I'm going to have to get Bobby Portis. And Al Horford. Derek White. Josh Hart. Complete this lineup with KPJ, Aaron Nesmith, and Anthony Black, and I left 100 on the table. I'm not confident here. 19.8. 19.7? One of the two. 1.4. Okay. We'll take Nesmith back out, Black out, KPJ out. And then I'm going to take Derek White out. And instead of Derek White for that spot, I need a guard in the worst way. I need like a 7K guard. All right, Jamal Murray. If it's Jamal Murray, then what completes it? McConnell, Green, and KPJ. Is that any better? So I swapped White to Murray and filled out the final 3, well, final 2 slightly differently. Did that improve the lineup? It did. 18-9. All right. McConnell, AJ Green, Josh Hart, Bobby Portis, Jokic, Porter, Horford, Murray. And now on FanDuel, where we know I'll do better. FanDuel's just easier to build lineups, guys. All right. Jokic, obviously. KPJ, obviously. I can't put in Jalen Duren. I can't put in Towns. Let's get MPJ. Let's get Bobby Portis. Let's get Christian Brown. I need one more guy. Let's go Pascal Siakam. Final 3 complete with McConnell, Murray, and Josh Hart. Spends all of the salary. Jelly Bean, yes. Free sub for a perfect ROI, I guess. I'll do a free week of any... Ooh, baby. I'll do a free week of NBA Sims if anybody ever guesses the ROI on the dot. 84.6%. I told you I crushed FanDuel. KPJ, TJ McConnell, Jamal Murray, Christian Brown, Josh Hart, MPJ, Siakam, Portis, Jokic. Dub. Alrighty, folks. That's another one in the books. We need new games. I'm tired of talking about these bad boys. Hit that like button if you haven't done it yet. Again, we're going off an hour early today. Milwaukee Bucks game starts at 6. Tomorrow, we have 2 games. Warriors Rockets at 7:30, Timberwolves Lakers at 10 o'clock. For Thursday, if the Knicks and Celtics both win today, we only have 1 game on Thursday. And in theory, we could have none on Friday, depending on how Minnesota, Golden State, and Indy do over the rest of the week. Good luck, everybody. Have some fun today.